Hello, my friends. It's Bradley J. We are live. This is the Bradley J. Show. And today we're talking about Yellowstone. So I'm going to don one of my three cowboy hats. And we're going to, as I say, we're going to talk about Yellowstone and some of the philosophical issues that underlie it. Spoiler alert, you may hear something about the show that you don't want to hear if you're going to watch it. If you don't want to know anything about it, don't watch this. I will try to be very general, and I will try to keep specifics away from you so I don't spoil it. All right? But suffice to say, Yellowstone is about a guy, John Dutton, who owns lots of land, and it's kind of about all it takes to hold on to that land, to hold on to it. First, there are going to be three sections to this. One, why do I deserve to wear a cowboy hat? Why am I not just some lame city slicker? I'll go into that. I deserve this hat. You'll see. Secondly, is the notion of family something that justifies anything? There is this idea these days that, family first, and I can break the law and I can hurt other people as long as it's for taking care of my family. Is that true? And secondly, does John Dutton own too much land? He owns about 750,000 acres, about the size of Rhode Island. Is it, for lack of a better word, morally right to do that? Is it morally wrong to do that? All right, let's get into why I deserve to wear a cowboy hat. And I do this partly just because most people who know me from the radio have no idea about where I came from. And it had to, it formed my, it was formative where I came from. I did not come from the West, but I did come from the Gothic rural north of New Hampshire and an extremely small town of 726 people. And my grandfather lived right across the field. We had about 4 acres, which is nothing. And my grandfather, his land, I don't know how many acres he had, but it seems like his area might have been 10 times as big as ours or 8 times as big as ours. So he might have had 30 to 40 acres, maybe 28 acres. I don't know. And he had cattle. He had the big farmhouse and the barn and these other buildings in between the farmhouse and barn, outbuildings they call them. He actually had an outhouse. And some rolling fields and stone walls that created a lane for the cattle. And I used to help with the cattle when I was super young, as you'll see. That's why I am almost a cowboy. No, did I ride? No. Did I rope? No. But did I deal with cattle? Did I herd cattle? Yes. Big, giant cattle when I was 6. And I'm going to show you some photos. And then this is to give me credibility here. And by the way, if you like rock and roll and cowboy clothes, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's show very briefly. It's Rick Walker's on Newbury Street. Rock and roll cowboy clothes since 1932. New and vintage, rock t-shirts, jewelry, leather jackets, including Vance and Leathers. 306 Newbury Street, Back Bay, Boston. And it's a cool hang. You go down the stairs, you'll see a boot outside. That's the landmark. And then you go down the stairs and say hi to Rick and Rachel. Now, why do I deserve to wear this cowboy hat? By the way, Reagan, howdy, partner. Can you hear me okay? I got to say this hat looks pretty good. And I got it at Walker's. And I got the shirt at Walker's, too. So let's do a screen share to show you my upbringing and my cattle upbringing. I made a little slideshow here. It includes my grandfather. His name was Guy, G-U-Y. And he was something, man. Now I'm going to, there's a new way to get to the screen share here, so I'm going to see if I can finger it out. Yeah. Okay. So share window. No. Yes, share window. I'm going to start the screen, the slideshow, and then I'm going to Actually, I'm going to back it up. How do I do that? Stop it. I apologize for this because it's new. I want to start it from the beginning. Maybe it'll repeat if I just play it. So I'll go to Window and hit the window, share. Okay, well, this is me early on, and I was wearing cowboy shirts a long time ago. That's my brother. Looks like, I don't know, he looks pretty good in that one. I still had hair there. Weird, right? Can you see it okay? Yeah. Okay, I'll start the slideshow, and I'll stop it when it's time. Oh, good, it's working. So this is my grandfather, and this is a little, I don't know what you call it, a little heifer or something. These are the big ones. And he used to, he loved them so much. I don't know how many he had, maybe 6, 4. He might have had more when before I came along. I'd like you to notice the ox yoke. He made those by hand. He carved them by hand, bent the wood by hand. See this ring here? It's called a frenulum ring, I think. I don't know. My nephew, and I think my brother, have tattoos of that because it's meaningful. I wish I knew the names of these. You can't see very well, but there are brass knobs on the end of their horns. And what they used to do is he built a truck. He bought a truck, and then he built the body to put the cattle in. And he would take them to the fair. And one time I went with him to the fair and actually slept with the cattle in the barn in the hay. And I have a picture of that place in a moment. All right, let's go on here a little bit. So they lived maybe 1,000 yards from us. We would just walk across the field. Okay, there. Wow. Old school, right? These seem small. They don't have big horns or anything. Looks like a picnic table out there. And I think that building burned down that you see in the background. And I think I watched it burn down from my front door, which was down to the right. So these are just, I'm showing you that I'm legit when it comes to cattle. So that's me, all right? Damn, I'll go back. That was me, the bigger of the two kids. And my grandfather died when I was like 7, so I had to be doing this stuff pretty early on. Here's more of the cattle. These are serious things, serious cattle. And you take them to the fair, and they pile rocks on a sled and they pull, and they would have contests. And he would practice for that with me, and I'll explain that in a little while. So there's see, there I am, cowboy and cowgirl Shannon, out in the desert. Oh yeah, I look pretty good on a horse. So does Shannon. And okay, I hope you can see this, because this is the Rochester Fair. He used to go to a bunch of fairs. Again, he made those oxen yoke. And that's my grandfather there. And that stick is called an ox gore, I guess. A terrible name. Either gore or gourd. It's a hardwood stick that he carved, and there's a little tack in the end to poke them a little bit. No, it didn't hurt him. It just was a reminder to get moving. He never used a whip or anything like that. He just would tap them with that stick. He made those sticks. I wish the heck I had one of those now. And see the people in the background? See that little kid? That's me. The morning after sleeping in that barn with these cattle. Let's see, we have some, yes, Paul, yeehaw. We never did say yeehaw. We never called ourselves cowboys or anything. In New England, it's more like you're a farmer. And these these farms had famous people, like Frank Scruton was always a competitor at these events. He had big, giant black and white steers. Loud and clear, good. Mega cool hat. It is. I made the hat band, by the way, Lou. I made it myself. That's one of the things that makes it cool. Did you help birth baby cattle? Good question. I think he always had males. I don't. Well, actually, no. He did have cows, and I'll tell you a little cow story in a little bit. No, maybe I should tell it right now. The reason I remember he had cows because I remember, when cows are in a barn during the winter, they defecate and they urinate, and then you shovel it out a window onto a big pile. But sometimes it gets a little sloppy, and I remember one time my grandfather was milking a cow, and he pointed the udder at me and squirted me in the face. Also, one time, either a steer or a cow slipped and like some of that effluvia went in my eye. A combination of defecation and urination. You've shoveled it up, but still, you haven't hosed it out or anything yet. It went right in my eye. And so that's me right there. You can see, I don't know if you can see it. That's my father and my mother, and I don't know who that dude is. And that's Grandpa. And again, I'm blown away. He made that stuff. And now let's continue the slideshow and see what happens. Okay, maybe this is the beginning. Yeah, this was a centenary, like an anniversary of the town, and had a little parade. And that's my grandfather, and that's two of the cattle. And again, that's me. I'll leave that there. So some of the things I did with the cattle were, they'd be out to pasture, and then they need to come in the barn, and we go out to the pasture and take them down through the woods and up through the lane, which was space between the two stone walls. And I'd have that prod and just tap him, and he'd go with me. I don't know if I ever did it alone. I don't think so. But, we're pretty small, and I'm doing it then. He loved us. He was cool. How about that beautiful tree in the back? And right across that field behind is where I lived. And another thing that I really remember was this. He as part of the training, he had a snowplow that he made. He got a big truck cab, and then had a big cement tub put on it for weight and a big plow. And he was a road agent, and he would plow the roads. That was his job too. And to practice pulling stuff, he hooked the cattle up to this big truck. Big snowplow, like a state snowplow. That kind of size, well, maybe not that big, but pretty big. And I was this size. You see there, I'm the one in the middle. I was this size, and I'd climb up in that thing. Had this big old school steering wheel. It had a wasp nest in it too, in the cab. And he'd hook up the cattle with a chain, and my job was to put on the brakes, put it in gear, put it in first gear, put on the brakes, and put on the emergency brake, and steer it while the cattle pulled it. And they'd drag it up the driveway. It was a dirt driveway, leaving these ruts. And then he'd unhook the chain, and the driveway was on a hill, so it would roll back, and my job was to steer it back. And I'm that size, and this is a truck. I'm pretty proud of that. Did Grandpa win any ribbons at the fair? Wow, what a good question. Hold on. Yeah. Here are 3. Here. Good question. I wish I'd thought of this before. Let me, I'll show you after in the big picture, but this is from the Northwood Fair. And, a couple of other ribbons. These were my grandfather's ribbons. 1956. I was not there then. 1951. Deerfield Fair, 1962. So he did it for quite a while. First prize. And so there's the story of the truck. I can remember the smell in the truck. I remember the wasps. It was like, it didn't seem like a big deal at the time. I mean, it was a big deal, but no way, no how any kid would get to do that now. And I'll go ahead a little bit more to change the photo here for you. This is pretty good. It's working out great. Anything else to talk about? Yeah, this is him. Look at his boots, man. This dude is he was a dude. That building is where he would do shoeing. Up back is another farm there. You see across that field, and we would slide down that field with a sled and stuff. Now, I'll go back to me. You've seen enough photos, so stop sharing. That's a good picture, right? Look how big and cool those animals are. Stop sharing. Okay, here I am again. So that's why I get to wear a cowboy hat. That's why I think. I'm not. They considered it farmers, but I'm a lot closer to being a cowboy than 95% of people. Oh, you can see that brass. Oh, never mind. So let's talk about Yellowstone. Yellowstone, John Dutton and his family own all this land. And the stories are about how to keep it and all the challenges to keep it. And of course, much like Longmire, which I love, they deal with the Indian reservation. They call it the res, and with the various rules. I love Longmire. I like Longmire probably better than Yellowstone. Yellowstone kind of gets cyclic. There's one challenge to the property, then there's a bigger one, and there's all the stuff the family does, and all the it's kind of like it is like the family is a mob, and you're not supposed to think of them that way, I guess, but they are, and it's justified by hanging onto the land, and because it's all about family. So, number one, what do you think, everybody? It's here. Karen, Reagan, Lou, Paul. Do you think everything is justified? That family is justifies everything. I think people use the family excuse to lie, cheat, and steal, saying it's for family. To harm others in the name of family. Yep, it's all about the family. He messed with us, so we're going to kill him. Or we're going to get revenge. I don't know. I think a person owes allegiance to the greater decency, and I don't think that you get to. I don't think you should be able to break the law. I'm a big rule of law guy. I don't think you should be able to break the law or harm others in the name of family. You'll see that going on a lot in Yellowstone. And you see it going on a lot in general. It's for my family. I stole that stuff for my family. I've got to lie and cheat and steal in business to make money for my family. It's okay if I say it's for my family, and I don't buy it. So that bothers me. I'll tell you, the Duttons break a lot of laws, like the biggest one, a lot, kind of in the name of family. They have, how many children? 3 that are living, and one of them's a woman named Beth, and she does all kinds of stuff, all kinds of horrible stuff, really mean, spiteful, horrible stuff, because her only goal is to do what daddy, take care of daddy. And we're supposed to say that's cool and that she's cool. She's tough and bad. A tough woman, justifying it because she's doing it for daddy. And I don't buy it. I don't like her. I'm supposed to like her. I mean, I think we're supposed to like her mostly, but I just don't. I think she's awful. And I kind of think that John Dutton is awful for enabling her. He knows what's going on. So let's see this Joe. Joe, what's going on? Joe says, no, I don't think family is justification to break laws. Oh, let me show you these ribbons. I think you can see them better now. That hit a whole box of them. These were, that's 1951. Imagine that. That's 6 years after World War II. It's 1956. I'm glad I have these. There's one more up there. There was a box of them. I'm not a big saver, but he used to have a shotgun in the corner of the kitchen. You know, you just did. It was near the door. If you go to the door and it looks shady, you got your shotgun. I remember shooting it. No, I don't know if it was the same one. But I remember shooting an old shotgun. Single barrel. 12 gauge. When I was a kid. And my father said, I said, can I shoot it? And he goes, yeah. But you got to shoot the whole box of shells. That was the deal, not once. If you're going to shoot it at all, you got to shoot the whole box. He said, hold it tight to your shoulder. Man, that thing went bang and had a kick. So now the other thing about the Dutton family in Yellowstone is that they own 750,000 acres approximately. That's what I looked it up. That's what it is thought that he owned for the show. An area about the size of Rhode Island. That's based upon the boss of the Indian reservation said he might have been exaggerating, but at another time there was talk of purchasing property, and they gave acre amounts and dollar amounts, which allowed you to do the math and figure it out. It's about $750,000 acres. And I say, I think maybe that he's a jerk for owning all that. No, okay, sure. We live in a free country, and I have no problem with, doing well and acquiring property and all. But at some point, don't you become a jerk. When people on the res are living in trailers, can't get good health care, got terrible school, and even people not on the res, regular old folks, are living in trailers. There's a meth crisis. And he's got 750,000 acres. And his family of 4. And it's not like he's creating jobs. He creates jobs that are related to the cattle he has, but he does not need that amount of territory for the cattle he has. It can't be justified that way. He's not creating any jobs. It's just he promised his father never to sell it. And that's, I guess, another question. Does he need to stick to that promise? I don't know. Really, even if you're going to lose it all because you can't afford to pay the taxes, even if you have to harm other people to keep it, I don't know. But I say, John Dutton, you're kind of a jerk. You could have half that, and you could keep that and lease it, or use it to generate money for the reservation. You could become a real benefactor, but no, you have to hang on to all that because it's how you grow up, and that's what people do. I say, shame on you, John Dutton. Shame on you. Your legacy could be that of a real good guy, a real benefactor, but nope, you're kind of like the Western Jeff Bezos. Jeff, you could use your money doing a lot better stuff than you do. Yeah, I'm sure you do donate a lot to good causes, but you're a sort of testosterone little boy trips to the outer space. Give me a break. You and Branson and who's that other guy? Ugh. Right, the Twitter guy. So I would think all those people's legacy would that they would rather be seen as somebody helping other people with their money rather than these personal ventures. And same with you, John Dutton. The heck with you. I know we're supposed to like you. You have some good qualities. But now let's compare Walt Longmire and John Dutton. Walt Longmire, way better guy. Just a way better guy. Kind of a more interesting guy. Also very manly. Also troubled. There are a lot of parallels. Wife died. You don't see that. It's okay. You just find that out. Sad about a wife dying. They both have sex with people way younger. It's both John and Walt. And I kind of prefer Longmire because it wraps up part of it up each episode. And then something else happens the next episode. While there are ongoing threads. Also, I think that in Longmire, the Native American connection, the reservation, the cast is much better in Longmire with Lou Diamond Phillips, and is it Graham Greene, of course, and Joseph Whitehorse with a cool beard. There's much richer interaction with the reservation and the non-reservation. So, did he butcher his own cattle and sell the meat? No. I don't think so. You know, maybe he didn't and never told us. But that wasn't the purpose of them. I mean, that's a great question. I feel like I would have known that, and I don't think so. What happened to them when they get old? I don't know. But here's how much the cattle meant to him. And this is very sad for me to say. Because in my family, I loved that guy, my grandfather. And when he was dying, I don't know, how old was I? I think 7. And when he was dying, I have to hurry up and do this. When he was dying, they brought the cattle to the window so he could see them one last time. That is so sad, huh? So there you go, Yellowstone. That's my beef with it. When you might want to watch it. You can pay to watch it. You can get it if you have Hulu. There's a way to get Peacock somehow. I don't really understand that, but it's legit, I believe. And then there's Longmire, which you can easily see. Sometimes I think about moving out there, but it's weird. Because, when you move to another whole world like that, there are a lot of variables you're not thinking about. First of all, surprisingly, say Gallup, New Mexico. It's a huge, terrible crime. Gallup, New Mexico is in the top 5% most dangerous places in the country when it comes to violent crime. I don't know why that is. Is it just because the meth situation? I don't know what's going on out there. I don't know what happens, but you got to you think of New York being dangerous, not compared to Gallup, New Mexico. And Gallup, New Mexico doesn't have many people. Boston is super safe compared to that. Now, I'm not all about safe, but I don't need to go to the most dangerous place on the planet. I did go, you know what? I'll post the Wyoming video. Wow. I'll post that. Maybe I should just play it right now. No, I can't, because I don't think the sound would come up. I'm going to post the Wyoming video. Will you do that? Will you go watch that? Will you do me a favor and subscribe to my travel YouTube channel and my Boston Bradley J Show YouTube channel? And there's also the band Bridgebender. Just go to Spotify and search Bridgebender. There's also the radio show on Saturdays. That's over for this Saturday, but you can go to Mixcloud and you can search Ignore the Machine. That's the radio show. So there's the 2 YouTube channels. There's the radio show. There's the band. What else? guess that's it. Well, this was fun. A half an hour. I just spoke to you for a half an hour. You know how hard that is? Most people can't do it. It takes practice. And I like doing it. You know why? Because it makes me proud. Because I am a good talk show host. It's important to know your worth. I like this because I'm good at it. And who knows? Maybe it'll be on the radio again, but maybe not. And if not, who cares? Really. I'm talking to you. This is nice. This is real nice. I know you're out there. There are some advantages to this. Not taking calls. For one thing, a lot of people are shy to call, but they will comment. Another thing is I could have any guest. Any one of you could be a guest if you want. Like, at least if you're trusted. Lou, you might be a little wild. I don't know, but you're probably good. Current events. Let's see what he says. Current events, knowing times and constant changes being made. Future has no definition. We ain't there yet. Huh. Too many illegal immigrants live there. Reagan. Okay. Too many. How many are there? I'm not sure how many there are. But immigration is an issue. On the one hand, it should be done correctly. There should be a pretty generous immigration policy, because with an unemployment rate of 3.5%, we need people to work. You guys don't want to do the work that they're going to do. I know you don't. And the more generation, I call it Generation H. That's the Harry Potter generation. The more of those folks you get coming up, they don't want to work. I know. I talked to them. Even after having an expensive college education, many are happy with simply being. Maybe that's good. It'd be good if you could figure that out before the expensive college education. But it's true about immigration. What they say is our country's built on immigrants. It's one of our strengths. And it's important to have a sensible immigration policy that is best for both the immigrants and for us. The Democrats, the liberals are very bad at messaging, and they allow themselves to be portrayed as wanting completely open borders. And some do, I guess. But the mainstream Democrats don't want that. Sensible immigration policy is really important. Reagan says, you did good today. Thumbs up. All right. All right. How do you do it? How do you wave with your hat? Yahoo? I don't know. So I'm a serious bandana wearer. I even wear bandanas when I wear a hat. If you need a decent hat, you might want to check out Rick Walker's, as I mentioned. Rock and Roll and Cowboy Clothes. I already did the big plug, but there's 306 Newbury Street. They'll tell you, if it looks good on you or not. They'll be straight. And they got these wicked cool new shirts in, kind of like this, only not cotton, but soft. I don't know what the material is, but it's got the exposed stitching like this. They're super cool. Karen BZ. That's cool now. Karen is not from BZ. Karen's from Wisconsin, if I'm right. But she figured out the old Facebook, and she's part of the show all the time, which is nice. Stephen Dock. Life below zero should be your next adventure. Next venture. What's that mean? Life below zero. You mean going and living in a cold place? Reagan, subscribed and shared, baby. And so let's see, back to Reagan. Too many illegal immigrants there. What is the concern? I'm not saying your concerns are not legitimate, but what is your concern before you go, Reagan? Is it that there's too much competition for resources, for jobs, for welfare, for health care? Is it that you're worried about getting crime? Is that what causes the crime? in, say, Gallup, New Mexico? I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew that. That's an important thing to know. If you could know what percent of crime is caused by illegal immigrants and find out if that number is way higher than legal immigrants or residents, I mean, that would be a thing. I don't know. That's a super good question. We got my superstar friend Lola Pope. Lola Pope, my good friend. I made a belt for her, man, and he likes it. I hope he likes it. Does he like it? Did you give it to him yet? She says immigration policy can perhaps create a logical, humane way to deal with the influx of immigrants. When people say too many, I think it's all about the jobs done by these folks, all the taxes they already pay. Yeah, let me share one thing before I go. I had the good fortune to work at WBCN, the greatest radio station in the history of radio, and I had the good fortune to do the last show ever. Okay, trusted to do the last show ever. That's pretty cool. After 40 years. Then, I didn't realize this, I did the last overnight show ever on WBZ News Radio 1030. I mean, maybe they have an overnight show on weekends. I don't know. I did the last full-time show on WBZ AM. And you know what? Now I feel like I'm part of the end of the United States as a democracy. People are worried about being over. I think it is over. I think this is the end, and it's strange to me that I seem to be involved with the end, or I would not prefer the peak of all these things. I was involved with the peak of radio and did the last show on 2 huge stations. And now I'm involved with the peak of the United States. For me, the peak of the United States was 1979. I just choose that. It's pretty random, but it was, before the greed of the 80s, and it was after the super, it's just a good sweet spot for me. And I do like medical care better now. Back then, medical care wasn't so great. Would I trade in now for then? I don't know. But I'm just saying, I feel like now I'm on the tail end of democracy. Civilizations don't last forever. None of them do. Rome, a lot of them lasted way longer than we have. And I feel like this is kind of a natural thing that happens. The founding fathers, they really wanted it. They were geniuses. But as time goes by, people forget why democracy is important. They don't understand what it is to live in an autocracy, and they take stuff for granted, and we're going to find out. So the H generation, the Harry Potter generation, what's going on with them is they can't buy a house, they can't get, they have a lot of school debt. Democracy's not working out for them, so they don't care about it, and they think, well, we'll try something else. Maybe Putin's not so bad. Maybe authoritarianism isn't so bad. I've heard that. They're not down with democracy or democratic republic or representative democracy or whatever you want to call it. They're just not down with it. It's not working out for them. They don't see the value of it. They don't remember or haven't experienced places that don't have it. And even, by the way, even the places like Scandinavia, where everybody's so happy, they're super racists there. Well, check it out. We get blamed for being racist, but we're not. I don't believe we're the most racist country. Anyway, what's this say? You will still be a boulder among rocks. Oh, that's very nice. I like that. A boulder among rocks. Will Lyons, the overnight radio show is really missed. Yeah, I know. It's too bad that that show was the friend to many folks in numerous generations, and It's too bad. But, just like BCN went away, BZ overnight went away, democracy's going away. It is. It really is. It's not a question anymore. If there are, what is it, 100 plus, 150 plus persons running for office that say, I will not honor the election's results if I don't win, it's over. It doesn't matter. Even the election results don't matter. If that attitude exists, it's over. So you need to twist your mind around to that, vote, and that's all you can do. You're not going to change anybody's mind by going online. You're just going to get yourself all upset. You're not going to learn anything from watching TV. All they do on TV is perpetuate the panic. So you're going to find your niche in whatever world we have left, whatever country we have left. Find a few friends. Protect your savings. Hunker down. And have the best life you can till it runs out. I've gotten to the point where it's pretty difficult to speak to anyone under 30. They're not going to listen to you at all. And it's because for a number of reasons, the generational divide gets bigger. For one reason is the media reason. Their media is different. The Harry Potter generation communicates on the phone. They text. And they have lost the ability to speak. They're not comfortable with speaking. They're not good at it. And who wants to do what you're not good at? They have no practice. They can text like the wind. You can't. You don't like that. So the medium is different for the generations. And that really contributes to it. And if you speak to somebody that age, you're just going to get in trouble. You're going to say something that's going to raise, their boomer alert. And there's no amount of arguing is going to help you. Even your argument will make you sound old. Here's what I do. If I see somebody that I perceive young enough to have different ideas, I will ask them, please tell me something that I need to know about, that I don't know about you and that I don't know about me. What's wrong with us? Tell me, tell me what I need to know about you. That's all I need to know from them. Just get some information on about how they view us and how they view themselves and how they view the world. Other than that, pretty hard to have a conversation. Will Lyon says, there are still good younger generation folks. Oh, sure. I think there's some hope for the future. Hope is an open-ended question. Like, what is hope? And what is future? What does that future look like? Will they do things better? Yeah. There are a lot of things that older folks don't get and screwed up. Yeah. But a lot of things, they're making a lot of mistakes too. One thing this is the final thing I'll say about that. The Harry Potter generation, the Generation H, not Preparation H, Generation H, are really finger pointy when it comes to how we behaved and how your parents behaved. And they're a little bit holier than thou, a little bit up on the preachy soapbox. And Bill Maher, I think, refers to it as presentism or something like that. And that's viewing everybody's actions from the past in terms of the present norms, which is an illegitimate thing to do. And Generation H does it. You cannot judge the actions of folks back then, given the culture now. And here's the thing. You can tell them when they start doing that. Do you honestly think you would have acted any different in that situation? That you are somehow better, intrinsically better than we were? That you would have had the insight back then, given the culture being the way it was, said you would have done the right thing. I don't think so. And you think about it twice before you start preaching how much better you are. Oh yeah, I heard this on Bill Maher. I thank God for Bill Maher. Job number one, 25 years below, is to be an influencer and be able to work at home. An influencer. That's a real noble cause. I suppose it depends on how you define influencer. I mean, you could, but if that by that you mean be a TikTok person and get sponsors because you're doing some dance, nah, that's not cool. Not everything about the future is good. Technology is great, but if it's used correctly, but just like a gun, it's a tool and you can't use it incorrectly. That's a good place to stop, I guess. Karen and BZ. No one talks to each other anymore. Better to go to the store and say hello and smile at a stranger. Yeah, but if a white man smiles at a woman, if a man smiles at a woman, the woman usually will avert their gaze, like look away, out of fear, either legitimate or not legitimate. I try to nod politely, and I try to say hi. That's true. And one other thing I'll leave you with: if when somebody says to you, "Oh, okay, boomer," they're being ageist. If a Generation H person says, "Okay, boomer," that is a slur. That is a prejudiced slur. That is ageism, which is every bit as bad as racism or sexism, because you cannot help your age. And for them to judge you on that, or even further, use that age limit for hiring practice and all, that's ageism, man. That is wrong, and they're being hypocrites if they accuse you of that. Because they'll tell you that racism is wrong. They'll tell you that ageism is wrong. They'll tell you that sexism is wrong. But the exact same thing with ageism. Now, I hope I have something left to say tomorrow, because I've said so much today. I've been on the air here for an hour. Maybe I should let you see one more cowboy hat. Oh yeah. This is a Kubra. Somebody gave me this headband. It was weird. It was a woman. She had some sort of, I don't know what she was. I won't get into who she was and what she was up to. I think it might have been illegal. But she gave me this. I think she was divorced, and she gave me this headband, and I wear it well. I mean, I wear it well. No breaks, wahoo. I find interesting. Oh yeah, yes, I could monetize this, but monetizing it's a pain in the neck. I could easily do that. I may do it, just because it'd be good for the structure for me. Maybe it'd make me do it every day, and it's probably good for the professional ego. It's not really about the money, but I do know people who have kind of offered, but it hasn't been worth it to me. But I might do it. So let's be done. I've said that 24 times now. So what do cowboys say when they're done? I don't even know. That's pretty sad. Oh no, I actually saw. They say see you later. They don't say goodbye. They say see you later, assuming that you will meet again, and we will tomorrow. And on Wednesday, we're going to go through the midterm elections and see how everything shook out. But I care less about them. People say most important election ever, and they say that all the time. But the election results are not as important as the fact that the people running no longer respect the structures, the infrastructure of our society, and the rules and the Constitution. It's over. The respect is gone. It's basically over. So again, just kind of realize that it's really quite relaxing, to give up, and not be optimistic. Realize it's over. You got to vote. You got to do it. But realize that your vote may not count because people don't believe, because of election deniers. But you still got to go. See y'all later. Bye.